Alright, hello. Thank you for tuning into this Selection Squad training video. Today, we will be covering permissible and impermissible interview questions. We want you, as the employer, to know the do's and don'ts when it comes to interviewing so you don't end up with any legal issues. So, listen up, sit back, and enjoy this training video. Alright, hello, my name is Max, and I'm going to be asking our impermissible questions today, so the ones that you do not want to ask in an interview, and this is...
I'm Brian, and I'm going to be here to ask some questions that are legal and will help you hire the right employee without an impending lawsuit on your hands.
What's the nationality of your name?
Well, it's Irish, but I don't feel like that's appropriate.
So, just as a prerequisite before we get started with this interview, have you ever worked under a different name?
No, I've always used as my real name.
All right, good.
So, I see you attended Edina High School. What year did you graduate from there?
I actually graduated in 2013.
Okay, cool.
So this job does require everyone to be at least of the age of 18. Do you meet that requirement?
Yeah, I'm above 18 years old, so I'd be able to fill in for the job.
Would you mind standing up for a second?
Sure.
How tall are you, Nick?
5'6".
And how much do you weigh?
135. I don't see how that applies, but that's what I am.
Alright, cool, thanks. You can sit back down.
Now, there are requirements with this job for some moderate to heavy lifting. Is that something you're comfortable with doing?
Yeah, I can lift anything under 50 pounds.
So, there's a little bit of something in your voice. Are you from around this place? Were you born in the United States?
Yeah, I was born in Illinois. I really don't know what you're talking about with my accent, though. Maybe it's a Midwestern thing.
Okay, just make sure.
So here at this company, we do a lot of international business. What languages can you speak fluently?
As of right now, I can speak English, but I'm a pretty quick learner. I could even pick up a copy of Rosetta Stone to learn whatever languages you guys deal with.
So I see you're wearing a cross. What's your religion?
I'm actually Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, so that's what that is.
Oh, okay, cool, sweet. Okay, so Nick, are you married?
Yeah, actually with 5 years.
Oh, okay, awesome, sweet. And you and your wife have any children?
Yeah, we have 3.
You have 3 kids. Okay, cool. And what are their names?
Oliver, Lucy, and Christopher.
Oliver, Lucy, Christopher. I like those names. That's awesome. All right, well, cool.
No, it should have been asked to you on your application, but do you have any relatives that currently work here?
I checked no for that part, so I don't have any relatives that work here.
All right, so Nick, have you ever been arrested?
I don't feel comfortable answering that. I feel like I'm kind of being interrogated by you a little bit.
Well, I mean, I was just asking if you've ever been arrested. Have you ever been arrested?
I just don't feel comfortable answering that question. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note of that.
Now, Nick, it won't have any implication on whether you're hired or not. We do it for informational purposes. Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes, actually I have.
All right.
Okay, so Nick, can you please provide a name and an address of one of your relatives that we might contact just in case if there's ever like an emergency or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I'll just give you my mom.
So in case of an emergency, do you have a person whose name, phone number, and address that we can have for if that situation were to arise?
Yeah, I could give you, I guess, my mom's information, her number and address.
So, what organizations or groups do you belong to that might like cause you to miss work due to like a religious holiday or anything along those lines?
I don't know if you guys give off Christmas, but other than like Christmas or Easter, that's about the only holidays that would exclude me from work.
Okay, sounds good. So Nick, you look pretty normal. But do you have any disabilities or anything that like we can't see that might hinder you from doing any of the tasks that you would be doing at this job?
No, I'm like you said, I'm pretty normal, so.
Do you take any prescription drugs that might, hinder your ability to think or move or anything like that?
No, I'm clean, so I should be good to go for the job.
Okay, cool, thanks. A lot of those situations were not only awkward but illegal, and you could really end up in some deep trouble with some of those things in a lawsuit or just in some huge legal trouble. So I hope you learned from me today what not to ask in an interview.
And for me, I asked all the legal versions of those questions. When it comes to legality of having these candidates in, it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to lawsuits and the possible ramifications from that.
Interviewing job candidates is time-consuming, and unfortunately, many companies waste that time with highly subjective, on-plan interview questions that fail to really reveal any relevant information. Here are some tips and tricks for making the most out of your interview process. Plan questions ahead of time based on a job analysis. Be sure the questions are related to the competencies and behaviors related to successful performance of the job. Ask the same specific questions in every interview to fill a given position. If the interview questions are consistent, candidates' responses will be easier to compare. Although every interview should be covering the same questions, you need to be flexible enough to gather complete and accurate information. If a candidate's response is unclear or incomplete, ask follow-up questions. Ask candidates to provide specific examples of job-related activities and accomplishments, rather than generalize. For example, tell me about a time when you handled a customer who was upset. This will yield better information than, tell me more about your current job. Take notes during the interview. Not only does it provide information for later review, but it sets a professional tone and shows the candidate that you are paying attention. Lastly, avoid distractions and interruptions. Phone calls can wait until after the interview. Interviewers should demonstrate the same respect they expect to receive from job candidates. You should now be prepared with enough relevant information to not only select the best candidates, but also avoid any legal consequences. Now get out there and interview.